Hello, my name is Alyssa Taylor, and I decided to do my presentation on Asperger's syndrome and the effects that it can have on learning for our students. The reason I chose this topic is because my husband was diagnosed with Asperger's when he was 17. Um, his parents have talked to me about it since I learned about it, and they said they always thought that there was something that didn't seem right or seemed a little bit off, but every time they had him assessed, they never knew what it was, what was causing it, or what they could do to help him until he was diagnosed at 17 and was almost done with school. The entire time he was in school up until that point, he really struggled not only with learning, but communicating, social cues, and certain subjects. Like he really disliked English because he didn't like reading or writing. Okay, so Asperger's syndrome is a condition under the umbrella of autism spectrum disorder. It's on the other side, kind of the spectrum. Asperger's can lead to individuals who are socially awkward and tend to have consuming interests in specific topics. So it's often hard to engage these kinds of students with Asperger's because they have very specific things that they're interested in. And if that is outside of the things that interest them, then they don't really want to know about it. I included a quote on here from Temple Grandin, who we've seen a couple videos throughout the course. She has autism, but I actually read a couple of her books after I found out about my husband's Asperger's, and they really opened my eyes to different things I could do to help with understanding how to communicate with him. The areas of the brain involved in Asperger's are the cerebellum, amygdala, and hippocampus. Typically, people with Asperger's have a smaller amygdala, but there's also the immature development of the cerebellum and hippocampus as well. This picture is of a normal brain and then an Asperger's brain, just because it can really show like the differences in how these students and these individuals are processing what is heard and what is seen. They can process what is seen versus what is heard much, much easier, which, if you know anyone with Asperger's, makes a lot of sense. The impacts that it has on learning vary depending on the individual, like it does for most other things. Not only, though, did I want to focus on the impacts on learning negatively, but I also wanted to look at the strengths because I know my husband is very, very detail oriented, and his memory is the best ever. He remembers things that I said years ago that I just don't. And typically, these students are also very honest, and they really want to make that connection with not only their teachers but peers their own age, just because they might not be getting that interaction anywhere else. Among the impacts on learning, emotional control is one of them because they get frustrated when they're not able to communicate their needs or communicate in a way that you can understand them. And hand in hand with that is the behavior regulation issues. Verbal reasoning is tough. Communication in general is tough. Social cues are difficult. At times, planning can be difficult, but I know for my husband, that's not one of the things he struggles with. Like I said, it can depend on the person. Teacher application. So I personally feel like there should be a service for students in schools where it's a push and pull out system like it's similar for speech. But I also think that we can include, as teachers, we can include social and emotional exercises that can help maybe allow our Asperger's students or our students with autism in general to understand social cues. I know that an exercise that I've done before is we'll watch a video with just a scenario happening, and then we both get to discuss what we see happening because our perceptions are so different. I think another thing that could help is sentence frames. Even for our students that are older and still struggle with writing, this can be something as simple as I can, and then allow them to finish the sentence. Because even small tasks like figuring out how to begin a sentence can be challenging. And the last one is make their assignments, your curriculum, whatever you're implementing in your classroom challenging. Asperger's individuals are typically very, very intelligent and get bored easily. So they need to be challenged. They need to be, in a heavy rigor environment, just so that they are able to learn. And it's not like, yep, I knew that. Okay, I already know that. Um, and then here are a list of all of my references. Thank you.